You remember that house, the one on the corner. It didn't just have a yard, it had the yard. The swing set, the fort, the geodesic dome that looked like an alien spaceship designed for skinned knees. As a kid, you begged your parents to drive past it. As an adult, you might look at your own fenced-in patch of grass and think, is that just a liability lawsuit waiting to happen? Or is it a developmental gold mine? Today, we aren't talking about architecture. We're talking about the psychology of the home playground. Why do we crave one? And what happens to a child's brain when the border between house and park disappears?
Let's start with a dirty secret. Most parents buy a swing set for the summer. They imagine barbecues and lazy afternoons. But the psychological magic happens in the shoulder seasons, the wet autumn, the weirdly warm Tuesday in February. Psychologists call this the proximity principle. When a playground is 10 miles away, it's an event. Events require packing bags, sunscreen, and emotional energy. But when the slide is 20 feet from the back door, it becomes a ritual. Repetition is the mother of mastery. At a public park, a child has 5 minutes on the slide before another kid waits. In the backyard, they can slide 400 times. That repetitive motion isn't boring. It's a cognitive loop. They are testing gravity. They are measuring friction. They are learning that the world is predictable. And a predictable world feels safe enough to explore.
But we can't talk about this without addressing the elephant on the monkey bars: status. There is a specific psychology to the home playground that separates it from, say, a pool or a trampoline. A pool says, we have money. A playground says, we have patience. Because a playground is a pain to build. It announces to the neighborhood, we are willing to sacrifice our adult aesthetic for juvenile joy. But here is the psychological trap. When you build the castle, do you build it for your child or for the parent you want to be seen as? Researchers call this conspicuous consumption of care. It's the giant playset sitting silent because the kid is actually inside on an iPad. The structure becomes a guilt monument, a wooden apology for all the times we said, not right now.
This is the fascinating psychological conflict. We buy the playground for safety, to keep the kid off the street, but then we hate the playground because it invites risk. There is a Danish word we need here: Risikokompetence, risk competence. Psychologist Ellen Sandsetter argues that children need to experience scary play, heights, speed, rough and tumble. A perfectly safe, plastic, low-to-the-ground playground removes the psychological benefit. It turns the yard into a sterile waiting room. But a backyard? You can let the grass grow a little wild. You can leave the rope swing a little loose. When a child navigates actual risk, falling off the tire swing, they aren't just having fun. They are calibrating their prefrontal cortex. They are learning the limits of their own bodies. The home playground is the only place left where a kid can be dangerously safe, and that is a psychological necessity.
We have to end with the ghost of the playground. The psychology changes as the child grows. Between ages 3 and 7, the playground is a laboratory. Ages 8 to 12, it's a headquarters, a place to negotiate trades, tell secrets, form hierarchies. But then comes the silence. They stop using it. And now we enter the final psychological phase: nostalgic anchoring. Even when the wood rots and the colors fade, the brain retains the imprint. That patch of dirt is neurologically encoded with serotonin and dopamine memories. Years later, when that child is an adult stuck in a traffic jam, their brain will automatically revert to the sensory memory of a specific spring afternoon. The smell of wet cedar chips, the clank of the swing chain, the feeling of flying forward when their parent pushed them. You don't buy a playground for the toddler they are today. You buy it for the adult they will need to be tomorrow. A place to go back to, even if they never physically return.
So, should you get one? Only if you promise to let them slide down it in the rain. Only if you promise to let them fall. And only if you promise to sit on the bench and actually watch, not just scroll. Because the best piece of playground equipment isn't the slide, it's your attention. Thanks for watching. Now, go push a swing, but subscribe before doing that.